Okay, so here is my video on how I am going to make my Sicilian pepperoni pizza. The first step is, of course, make a sauce. Okay, I'm a big fan of making my own sauce for the pizza because I find that most store-bought pizza sauces doesn't taste very good. Okay, so this is the brand that I buy. I believe my wife bought this at Costco. They sell these at Costco in pack of threes, and it's fairly simple. You can look on YouTube for a recipe on how to do this. I just want to show you what the tomato inside look like. Okay, and I don't have a fancy tool to puree it, so this is what I use. And I usually divide this into two batches in here and give it a good blend. Okay, so here's what it looks like after I puree. That's the first half, and I still get another half to go. Okay, so here's the sauce cooking down. As you can see, I still have probably another 20 minutes or 30 minutes to go, but you can see, maybe you can see it, but a little hint of basil in there, fresh basil, garlic, oregano, olive oil, a little salt, a little sugar, just a little, just a pinch. Okay, so it's 12:45. This entire process of making the dough and baking the pizza would take less than 5 hours. Okay, so it's fairly easy. I just want to show you the time of 12:45 from start to finish. Okay, so here's a pan that I'm going to use. I'll put a link below to Amazon where I bought them from. It's a 12 by 12 pizza pan. Okay, now if you want to make the full pan pizza, then double up the recipe that I am showing you here. Okay, because I'm just gonna make half, because normally we don't eat the whole pan, and I make pizza quite regularly, and it's better for me to just bake half the pan and eat everything fresh. Okay, now keep in mind, when I'm gonna make using the portion I'm making, it's gonna be more than half, because I prefer the crust not to be too thick. So when you're doing the full pan using the same recipe, double up, you likely will get a crust that is thicker, that go almost all the way to the edge of the top of the rim. Okay, so keep that in mind. So here is the portion that I'm gonna make. Okay, first you want to use 1.5 cup of flour. Okay, so that's 1.5 cup of flour. Keep in mind there's so many recipe of pizza dough. This is mine that I prefer to use because I'm a big fan of no knead dough recipe. Easy. It's gonna be a very wet dough, but trust me, once it's ready to cook, it's easy to handle, but it will start out looking very wet. So here is 1.5 cup of flour. Add to this 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, so here is the 1 teaspoon of salt. All right, so now let's get the yeast ready. Okay, so here I have 3/4 cup of warm water. Okay, warm, not hot, just warm, lukewarm. Will help the yeast activate faster. So 3/4 cup of warm water. Into this, put in 1 teaspoon of instant yeast and 1 teaspoon of sugar to help the yeast activate. Okay, so I put in 1 teaspoon of yeast into the bowl, and then here is the 1 teaspoon of sugar, and then stir it a little bit. Okay, and then let it sit until the yeast is ready. Okay, give it 15 minutes. Okay, so roughly 15 minutes later, as you can see, the yeast is working, start to bubble up. And let me show you the time so that you see how long it has been. Okay, now you can pour the liquid in here. As you can see, that look very wet, okay? But no worry. Let me see if I can put this down so you can see. You can stir it, start to mix it in slowly. Like I said, this is a no knead recipe for pizza dough. Okay, so if you look on YouTube and research pizza dough recipe, you will see all kind of variation. Okay, I prefer the easy, no knead methods. To me, it's less work, it's less messy. Okay, but you can use your own if you wish. Alright, so let me show you what the dough looks like right now. Okay, see? Not too bad, right? Now, what I will do before I cover it up is okay, so just let it sit for an hour. Okay, so as you can see, that's the time, 1:05. Okay, so this is about an hour later. Okay, and it pretty much has doubled in size. So let's give it a little work and then let it rise one more time. Okay. As you can see, it's a very wet dough, especially when I add more liquid, the olive oil, before I cover it up. So, but it's very soft now. Okay, that's all you gotta do. That's how much work. I basically grab it, flip it a couple times, fold it, and once again cover it up. Okay, so roughly another hour has passed. I pour some olive oil on the pan, use a brush to brush it to all the edges and corner. Okay, so you can see right there. Look at this. The dough has risen nicely. Now I'm going to transfer this into there and spread it. There you go. Easy peasy, right? Now I'm just gonna cover it again and let it rise one last time before I bake it. As you can see, the dough has risen and spread out nicely, almost too much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this closer to almost the middle to give more height to the crust on this side. Okay, so let me show you the result after I do that. Okay, so I basically use a piece of foil and push it. Okay, and as you can see, it's not quite half, but at least now the thickness of this side is equal to that side. It looks pretty good. If you use the full recipe, double up the ingredients, then you can see how the dough can be even almost as high as the edge of this pan here. So it will be a much thicker Sicilian pizza, okay? But so now preheat the oven to 500 degrees and par bake this. Okay, so I preheat the oven to 500 right now. And one last step before I put it in the oven is I will drizzle a little bit of olive oil right on the edge. Okay, this way it would give it a nice crusty edge. I also like to add a little garlic powder to the crust on the edge. So before I put it inside the oven, I will sprinkle a little garlic powder on just the edge, okay? Okay, the oven is ready, and as you can see the dusting of garlic powder on the edge of the pizza. Okay, now I will put it inside middle rack for 10 minutes, okay? While the dough is baking, I am getting things ready. I use the square mozzarella cheese. I can use I think 6 slices, but I find that that's never enough cheese. So I also have some shredded mozzarella to add, pepperoni, some parmesan to sprinkle, some oregano, and of course my homemade pizza sauce right here. So as soon as it's ready to come out, we will put the topping on and then back into the oven for another 10 minutes, okay? Okay, 10 minutes, time's up. Let's take it out, okay? Okay, so here you go. Be very careful, okay? Everything is super hot, okay? So don't touch anything and burn yourself. So now it's time to put the topping on. Okay, one. What do you think?